Welcome to Wisdom Time. You know, when life gets really tough, when it feels like everything is piling on, a really profound and difficult question can come to the surface.
So today, we're going to dive into that. We're exploring the Islamic perspective on this very feeling, drawing from the work Olumlu Dilemek Cayizmidir. It's a desire that really touches the very core of what it means to suffer as a human being.
So this is the big question, isn't it? In those darkest moments, is it permissible? Is it okay to wish for it all to just end? Well, Islamic tradition doesn't shy away from this at all. It confronts this question head-on, and the answer is surprisingly direct.
The short answer is a flat-out no. It's incredibly unambiguous. There are no real exceptions or loopholes in this initial ruling. But to truly understand why, we need to explore the deep theological principles that stand behind that simple word.
So in Islamic terms, this isn't just discouraged or a bad idea. It's categorized as haram, which means it is strictly forbidden. Now, this isn't meant to be a judgment on a person's pain, not at all. It's actually a powerful statement about the very nature of life itself.
So why such a strict prohibition? Well, the reasoning isn't about judging someone's suffering. Instead, it's all rooted in a fundamental understanding of what life is and what it's for.
Okay, so the first principle is pretty simple. Life itself is considered the greatest divine blessing. It's the whole foundation of our existence. From this perspective, wishing for its end is seen as a kind of spiritual blindness, an inability to see the profound value of the gift you're holding.
This prohibition is really built on several layers. First, life is seen as a sacred trust, or a manna, that's been placed in our hands. So wishing it away is like betraying that trust. It's also seen as a form of deep ingratitude for the blessing of just existing. And it's even considered a form of ignorance, because it underestimates the fact that the trials of the afterlife could be far, far greater. At its core, these thoughts are understood to come from a place of despair, not faith.
And we have direct teachings from the Prophet Muhammad that frame this perfectly. This teaching basically reframes your entire life as pure opportunity. Think about it. If you're a good person, more life means a chance to do even more good. And if you're someone who has made mistakes, well, it's a chance to repent and turn things around. In either case, death closes that door forever.
This second hadith really reinforces that crucial point. It's like your ledger of deeds. Once a person dies, that book is closed. But as long as a believer is alive, they have this constant, ongoing potential to increase their good deeds and improve their spiritual standing. The potential is always there.
And the sheer weight of this prohibition is captured so powerfully in the story of one of the Prophet's companions, Habab. This man endured such extreme physical suffering. I mean, he was in so much pain that he actually had his body cauterized 7 times. Yet even in that state, he said, if the Prophet had not forbidden us from wishing for death, I would have prayed for it. His submission to the rule, even in that agony, just shows you how seriously this was taken.
Before we explore the compassionate guidance that Islam offers for those in deep distress, if you're finding this explainer valuable, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like our video, and turn on the notification bell. Okay, so we know the rule. But what if the pain just feels unbearable? What if, despite knowing all this, the feeling is just too overwhelming? Well, Islam doesn't just prohibit something and walk away. It also provides a compassionate provision for these exact moments of extreme emotional turmoil.
The Prophet Muhammad, showing this deep, deep understanding of human suffering, acknowledged that a person might reach this breaking point, and for that specific situation, he taught a specific prayer.
And honestly, this prayer is a masterclass in psychological and spiritual reframing. Notice how it doesn't deny the person's pain. It doesn't tell them they're wrong to want an end to suffering. Instead, it completely redirects that feeling.
Think about the psychological power here. First, by including the possibility of death, the prayer validates the person's suffering. It basically says, I hear you, I get it. Second, it shifts the agency. The decision is transferred from human despair to divine wisdom. And third, it opens this small window of hope, introducing the idea that maybe, just maybe, living is actually the better path right now.
The practical effect of this is just profound. A person who makes this prayer and then wakes up the next morning now has a new framework. They can think to themselves, I am still here. This must mean that, at least for today, living is better for me. It transforms a moment of absolute despair into a daily reason to live, a reason to find the good in that day.
So this brings us to a really vital distinction. It's crucial to separate the forbidden prayer, born from despair, from other kinds of prayers about death that are not only permissible, but actually encouraged.
And the core difference really comes down to motivation. One prayer stems from despair, a rejection of life's trials. The other stems from devotion, a desire for a virtuous end to life. It's not about when you die, but how you die, spiritually speaking.
For instance, it's absolutely permissible to pray to die as a martyr, or to pray to die in a state of faithful submission as a Muslim. These prayers aren't asking to hasten death, they're asking for a virtuous quality for when that moment naturally comes.
We see a powerful example of this in the Quran with the prayer of Prophet Joseph. After being reunited with his family and reaching the peak of his power, he prays, "Take my soul as a Muslim and join me with the righteous." This wasn't a death wish, this was a plea to remain steadfast in faith until his very last breath.
And similarly, we have the example of the Caliph Omar. In his old age, burdened by this immense responsibility, he prayed to God to take him before he might falter or commit an injustice. This wasn't a desire to escape life, but a profound fear of failing in his sacred duty.
And finally, there's one more specific context where prayers for ease in death are allowed. When a person is on their deathbed and recovery is medically deemed impossible, it is permissible to pray for a gentle and easy transition from this life to the next.
This brings us to the core message, the idea that really synthesizes everything we've discussed today. This fundamental Islamic view of life as a sacred trust.
The ultimate takeaway is this: every moment of life is viewed as a precious, irreplaceable opportunity for growth, and the theology provides a path, not just forbidding an act of despair, but offering a way to transform that same despair into a profound act of trust in a wisdom that's greater than our own.
And that leaves us with a final question to reflect on, not just for moments of hardship, but for every single day. In the end, how can we transform our perspective to see every moment of life as an opportunity for what is ultimately best? Thank you for joining us for this explainer.